Hi YouTube, I hope you're doing well. We're going to have probably a little bit of noise, but I'm trying to get this in while I have time. And I have my dishwasher running, and then Doug might be making some noise, so we'll just work through it. I hope you can hear this. What's on my mind today? Liars, like usual. Um, how can we make informed decisions in our lives when somebody gives us the untruth, and then we're expected to calculate our lives and our next move for our life and our soul based on what somebody else is saying. So, like with government officials and world leaders, and I am sick of these people, and don't buy into this baloney that everybody's a liar, because everybody is not a dishonest. You know what I mean? And like for instance, when a public official gets caught lying or being dishonest, or I don't care, yeah, there's fines and there's dues to be paid when they have an infraction against our Constitution and our Bill of Rights and what we have stated in our laws. When they violate those laws, that's the end of their position in our public figure, in the public eye. As far as I'm concerned, once you lie, you're done. You are not my child. You are not my loved ones. You are a paid official. And the minute you infract on that trust, you're fucking gone. And these treasonous bastards out here, like for instance, why isn't FAUCCI, or however you spell that dickhead's name, that calls himself a doctor, why isn't he in prison? Sit there and lie before Congress twice and get caught? This is what I'm talking about. It's bad enough in our in our private lives when somebody's shady to us, you know. You wouldn't tolerate it there, or if you do, I don't know personally. But based on what somebody else says, you're going to. This is just. I'm going to make a made-up scenario here to tell you, and this isn't even with severe ramifications. But just say if it was the last chicken that I had in my freezer. And Doug said, I'll be home at 6 o'clock. I would like it if you'd make supper. That'd be nice. I'm going to run some errands. Okay. Well, and then he doesn't show up till almost 6 o'clock the next morning. No, he's not like that. I'm just saying, in some ways, but not like that overnight type of shit, you know. But I'm just saying, so I cooked this chicken. I waited. It got all dry. It's totally ruined, hardly edible. And then they come home and wonder, why isn't that nice meal made? They're not on time. They lied. They knew ahead of time, or whatever the thing would be. You based your day, your meal, on what this person said. Or I'll give you another scenario. I had this happen, so I'll tell you a true story just a minute. So your teenage son comes home and tells you that people are giving him a hard time and they're adults, you know? Okay. So they met these people through other people, but you've heard their names around. It's a small community. So believing in your child wholeheartedly, you confront these adults with some backbone, and just to be informed that your son was in the wrong. And so Your son comes home and tells you, like he did me, this kid came home and told me that these adults were giving him a hard time to find out that he had been acting shady with them. Came home and lied to me, endangered my life. Literally, I had a dude walk in my house, not just one time because of their dad, too, but I had a dude walk in my house and pull a gun on me. I've had guns pulled on me 4, 5, 6, about 6 times, I think. I'd say maybe I've had them pointed at me more than that. But so my life's actually in danger, but based on what a liar does. And we're confronted with that on a daily basis, with these liars out on the internet, with these liars in the public eye. Every time you base your life and your decisions on what somebody else said is true, you're putting your trust, the trust of your soul and your flesh and your family, everybody you know, based on somebody else's lie. Isn't that wild? And these doctors will sit there and say everybody lies. No, that's why everybody doesn't. Because if we all did, would we have any friends or family? I'd say probably not. So that's the severity, and that's just a couple examples. I could tell you hundreds of times that I have been deceived by liars, and it altered my life, infracted on my physical self, and I could go on, but this is true, and this, you know, I that's why I adamantly hate liars with a passion. And I would rather die than lie. Is that so difficult to understand for people that everybody is not a liar and they're for good reason? Yeah. They say they called Abe Lincoln Honest Abe. I don't know. I wasn't there. I could go based on his zodiac sign being the same as mine, but which is Aquarian, but most Aquarian men, no offense, men, most Aquarian men that I know um, are, and a lot of the women are really goofy. I mean, they let their freak flag fly. Um, Maybe not as bad as some of the other one zodiacs I could name. I think if you're into astrology, then you know who they are also. So we're not going to go into that in great detail right this second, but so I don't know. I would say, and some of the worst people, some of the best people have been my zodiac sign. So I don't know. Maybe it just really doesn't matter, you know. Speaking of zodiac signs, one of my Capricorn sons is 40 years old today. I was 26 when I had him. I was almost 23 when I had my first one. So there's like 3 years and 11 months in between them. So, but yeah, I don't know where he is. I think he's probably in jail. So I think my oldest one is doing better. Anyway, yeah, hopefully. I think my oldest one is getting the help he needs, and my youngest one is where he needs to be, you know? Because I always pray, and maybe this is part of the reason where if when they're feeling hatred towards me, 'cause they know if they're out there, like, drinking and using, I will pray that they get incarcerated, and they do. I don't know if there's other mothers out there that feel like I do, but I would rather have my kid in jail or prison than out on the street using or stealing or, you know, harming other people or themselves. So that's just me personally. That's kind of a little favor I ask God, and it seems almost to work almost all the time. So I don't know where they'll have, I don't know, this is kind of common with repeat offenders and criminals anyway, like my youngest son, because and addicts, you know, have a tendency not to, excuse me, not to really be on the straight and narrow, basically, anyway, you know. So, yeah, I had people break glass mirrors and stuff or whatever it was and put it down at the bottom of my driveway because of my kid. I've had a woman that killed her husband and hadn't been caught yet come to my house and threaten me because of my kid. I mean, just, and he wasn't even living with me at that time. You know, it's like just weird things. Not weird, dangerous, actually. You know, if that old, at the time, about my age, if that old bitch hadn't had a gun. Yeah, well, it didn't matter. I had a screwdriver in my hand when I met her by her truck, and I would have poked it with her probably on her before she could have pulled her gun. Because, you know, like intimidation and fear, that type of thing will do that to a person. That's why I don't take kindly to these globalist, neo Nazi, New World Order believers, you know. It's like, yeah, I'll fight you. I don't care who you are. I'm fighting for my life and the life of the people I care about. So I don't give a shit who says what. That's what they bring out in me. That's what they're going to get. So cheers, everybody. Hopefully it won't come to that, but and by all means stay off the street. That, oh, by all means. There's a saying. So they're by all, which is Allah or Abba, the dual, the goat dude thing, um, with boobs, because he's just fat and has boobs. And so they're directed, they're by all, and they're mean by and large. And I don't buy into that. So maybe they're bi and tiny. Could be. They may not even be bi. They're like, hello, I'm just a flaming freak. Get it? Bi or hi. Hi, I'm a flaming freak. No. Bye. Let your freak flag fly up in the sky. Because you're not a woman, you're a guy. Anyway, or whatever. I'm a little hyper. I got my exercises done. I washed a used washing machine before we install it. Um, Cleaned up after my kitties. I fed the outside kitties. Made coffee. Got a load of dishes done and a bunch of other stuff. Just been really busy. In the middle of listening to a uh, Professor Bachman has, it's on his Nothingness and Mental Health channel. It's called Gain Self-Knowledge via Insight. Let intuition protect you. That's my point right there. And it's not funny that he would be speaking on that, because how can you use your intuition when everybody's being trained not to use it by the liars? If you're lied to, you can't go on intuition or instincts because they're off. It's like when somebody you thought loved you hits you. You would never have been hit if you thought that person was loving. Yeah, and then so that tells me that when that happened to me, my intuition was off. My gut instinct was not working. you know. That's the dangers of it all. That's why I'll never trust Doug again. I mean, and for good reason, because uh, at least once a week there's something really and weird that is something he can say that I would say or do, because while you do it too or you say it too, it's different. I can't prove nothing about like that, but this is true. But at least once a week there will be something, and I can never peacefully put my trust in another soul. That's a sad case on this planet, isn't it? When you know that you would be in danger if you put your soul in the hands of another human being or your physical self. That's not a good feeling, to live every day like that when you don't know what is going to be said or done to harm you on a daily basis, and things do at least once a week by somebody, but usually in close proximity to me to do the most harm without being actually criminal. Just fucking terrible, but not criminal. Criminal in the eyes of God, you know. There's other sins besides the seven deadly sins and the commandments that we need to abide by. Just ask the Judaism if they're living under the old would be just a minute. Um, it was oh, okay, just a minute here. It was a covenant that God made with Abraham. And if they're still living under the old covenant and not the new one of Jesus Christ, they are not forgiven for a multitude of sins. There's probably, I think, like 600 or something that these people need to observe, like 623. It's something crazy wild of things that we do or don't do in our lives that are infractions to God that is not covered by the blood of Christ. And that's the decision they make by not believing in our Lord. So they choose to still follow their God of this world, who is the Antichrist. So that's the decision they make, and that's why I'm coming down hard on them. That makes them my enemies, my foes, not the other way around. I'm not the one that has these Talmudic teachings and Noahide laws that harm everybody on this planet if you aren't a certain heritage. or pay your dues to just the right church, you know, or synagogue or temple or whatever. So I'm not the one doing this shit, but I'm not also not the one being quiet about it. Anyway, let's pop over to Facebook and see what's up. If it pulls up, I wanted to watch, oh, it's a live stream of the Stoica, is the name of the channel. The guy's name is Jason, and I couldn't get it to stream. It's just like right now, it's loading, loading, loading. Or is it that way? Yeah. For you, it'd be this way. Okay. Oh, this is nice. Today I break every influence of Satan over your life and the lives of your loved ones. I cut them off in the name of Jesus Christ. That was nice. And then it flipped away before I could give it a like. But the same person has, from today, nothing can stop your prosperity. I saw somebody that it said, people, food stamps are for children. And I'm like, what? Do you know the amount of people on the street that would be starving and probably robbing your home? Or I mean, not everybody, but some of them become thieves if you're desperate, you know, or elderly that have even eaten dog food because it was cheaper. um Not me, but people. I mean, I have almost starved. We almost starved a lot of times just to pay our house off. What are you going to do? You know, by the time Doug got through paying child support, he'd have like 49 cents left. What do? You better hope your spouse is a worker, right? Well, anyway. But yeah, there's no way a lot of people can make it, like with health insurance or all of it, you know. For somebody to say that, yeah, we've all worked in this, or most of us have worked for decades in the United States of America. But if you would, I'd rather see um, people, bombs aren't for children and we don't need to pay for them, than food stamp, or bombs aren't for anybody, you know, than somebody spouting about food. I mean, really? You're worried about food when we're giving thousands of dollars to people that illegally come into our United States, and you're worried about getting food stamps for people? Really? Hmm. That's amazing. I wouldn't want to be hungry or thirsty around your dumb, whoever he was. I don't know. Wow. Oh, don't feed him. That's not a baby. Don't feed her. It's not a baby. I see. That's the mode of thinking. You know? Geez, my middle granddaughter is about my size right now. She's Holy smokes. These girls are going to be Amazons, except for I think maybe the little one. I don't know. She might be tall. I'm not sure. Her mom's very short, but their dad is tall, pretty tall. My kids are 6'2", 6'3", around in there. So, yeah. Anyway, I was surprised. It's just like, seemed like just last week she was still kind of one of the little ones, and then all of a sudden, poof, you know, freaked me out, you know. So it's just like right now, both of my sons are almost eligible to be grandfathers, if that's one way you could put it, making me a great grandmother. So, not yet, but if that happens, you'll probably be the first to know. I don't know if I would, but well, the mother would, and the grandmother. Wow. No, it's probably a few years off, but hopefully. Well, like with my daughter-in-law, she doesn't need any more extra things to do in her life right now. She's like totally busy without any grandchildren, so we'll pray it'll stay that way for a long time, long enough. I'm glad I wasn't like a really old mom. I'm glad I had my kids at a younger age, where I could like fly a kite with them, and I taught them how to ski and, you know, that type of stuff, doing stuff with them. And if you're like a middle-aged parent when you have kids, you're really not going to be as active, you know, and you're probably going to be less likely to, you might be a little more stable in mind, maybe, uh, maybe, depending on the person. But yeah, how young do we think is too young to have a child? I'd say under 20. Yeah, about thereabouts. At least I'm glad I didn't have one before then. Matter of fact, my 22nd birthday, I had 22 shots of peppermint schnapps. Um, and then I lost count. And there was a keg on the porch when I got home and another bottle for me. So I don't know how much I drank. Then it was later in that year I got pregnant. So um, I don't think I was drunk when I got pregnant. Pretty sure I wasn't. you know. Or maybe that was 21. Yeah, that was my 21st birthday. Because, yeah, it would have had to have been. So, yeah, I'm glad I didn't have any children before I did, you know. Oh, and I was still walking around. I mean, I worked at a municipal at the time. It was an on and off sale, and we had food there too. Um, so bartending. So I'd stay like really late. I didn't have kids. I'd stay really late and play duck hunt on the great big screen, and then have a couple drinks. go home, babysit, clean some house for a friend of mine. Hit another place where I used to play music at and play my favorite pinball game. And um, I'd get ready for work, go play my game, and then go to work in another town. It's all in little towns in Minnesota, out in the country, basically. So yeah, and do it all over again. And then the father of my children came back in my life because he said he missed me. Liar, liar. More like he knew my parents had money and was hoping that I'd suck up harder on him so he could benefit. That's all that was, I'm pretty sure. Because that's what he ended up marrying. Same, her name's Barb. I told him, this is wild, but his dad had gotten remarried and woke up calling his ex-wife's name to his new wife. Oh, that's not cool. So I told this freak you should marry somebody with the same name so you don't do what your dad did. I don't know if that's why he did, but she ended up being a Barb Larson like I was. And that's just crazy right there to marry somebody with the same name. Oh, ick. That's pretty horrible. I mean, in a way, until I met her, well, the first time I met her, it wasn't real bad. But after a while, I didn't feel sorry for her anymore. So, yeah, I did at first. Yeah, thought to myself, this one is not strong enough for this. They never had kids, which is probably a good thing. I mean, I maybe shouldn't have either with him. So, I don't know. It's God, the fate of God. I believe in His plan and His will. I have a black little kitty sitting down by me. She is so well behaved. The other ones try to sit on my feet or climb up my leg. She's just good. Oh, she goes like that. She is. Few of them are kind of monster-like. It's almost time for them to find homes. Anybody need a kitty? I'll ship it to you. No, no, I won't. That is possible, but no. Yeah, that wouldn't be good for a kitty. Even I traveled with my Irish setter. I wish I wouldn't have had to, but and I traveled with my small dog too, but that wasn't so bad in the car. But on the train with my big dog, that was a little rough on him. So anyway, you really need to understand the dangers of the liars. It's not something that we can be passive about and not be assertive in our governments, in our personal lives. we have to we have to tell these people, if you can't be honest, if you can't be straightforward, loving or kind, you really what's your purpose, if you think that you're doing some type of a service for people and you're actually taking them away from God in any way or putting their physical selves in danger. You're worthless. And I can name many channels out there that fall under that worthless word. And they know they are. They're not benefiting anybody. There's nothing that most of these channels put out there, most of them, without extensive research. But there is nothing that these people put out there that you couldn't learn yourself, you know. And when you do learn it, are you learning it the right way? Are you learning it the way they interpret it? Anytime somebody tells you something, it's always from something they got somewhere else, most likely. Unless it's their personal story, then they're probably going to be able to tell that more accurately than somebody else. But without our own research in the world, you're vulnerable. That's why you should trust me when I tell you something. Really. Because I would rather die than lie. What better friend could you ask for? Or channel to listen to? Somebody that's honest? You know? Yeah, a lot of people can say, I'm honest and I don't lie. Yeah, are you going to stake your soul on that? I keep telling people, repeat after me. What are you afraid of? God? That God you don't believe in, really? That God you don't trust? That one? Or they don't believe in God, and, well, they do. They know. They have the master they serve that tells them little white lies are okay. It's okay just to be a little bit deceiving as long as you're giving them part of the story. Doesn't matter if it really sets them back or even annihilates friendships or whatever it does. Doesn't make any difference as long as you get your money for your untruths, whoever they are. Because the lies, one little lie in a whole video of truth can blow it all out of the water. Hundreds of videos on somebody's channel with one little lie in one of them can destroy many, many people. What's that worth to us, you know? So, judging a person's character based on their integrity and what their values are morally is important to me. And if I catch people in lies, I'm done with you. It better be from the grace of God or some kind of divine intervention before I'm going to give you the time of day again because of the lies. Or if you're sharing a known liar, you know, if you're sharing information from a known liar, you're participating, you know. And if I tell you that you are, you should take heed in that. So, there's a thing about that I'd like to just touch on briefly about that character that's called Janus, um, depicted sometimes as a two-headed man, depicted mostly in the ancient times where the hair of the beard and the hair of the braid of the woman are braided together, and it's a man and woman standing back to back, like their minds are as one, is what that indicates. It has nothing else to do besides that, but you will have other people tell you different, that it's like a male figure, or the mixture of the both of them, or like the freak show bullshit that gets me really off. Just beware of all that, because it's a deceiving measurement right there, deceiving method, rather. So, and the other day I was trying to think of fencing, and I said jousting. Jousting is on horses with lances. I've never done that. I probably wouldn't mind trying it. I don't know if I'd like to get knocked off a horse, though. Nah, probably not, unless I was the stronger one, and then who's to say what your horse is gonna do or whatever, too, so, probably not. So, well, I'm gonna leave it there today. I just wanted to kind of clear up a few things, and don't buy into this. God's much more than that can be described in the physical, and what he gave to a man, he gave to a man. What he gave to a woman, he gave to a woman, and that's how we combine our um, inner beings with each other and interact with our minds and our hearts. It's not a physical thing, it never has been. And if you believe that there's some kind of aliens and lizards and anything besides, so you were spoken into existence with the word. Where does that have anything to do with any kind of genitalia? Pre-human. Where? It doesn't. So people need to really get your head screwed on right there. So, all right, everybody. Thank you for joining me. Have a really good night or day wherever you're at. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA.